Before I start, an update. I moved back to Seattle to save, and I dropped school again. I won't let anything delay these videos, or my training. I also have a concern. I bet some feared I'd be the next violent incel. You got the basis wrong. Being hurt isn't what makes someone like that. Apathy is. A trait mostly among the privileged. I'm sure the worst offenders weren't poor. I began filming because those that shamed me turned out to be the first one with that mindset the moment they stressed out. Misfortune exposes our true self. Now, I'll continue the story. When I last spoke, I began with my youth. I didn't mention that anytime something awful happened, I'd move schools to fix my grades and recover. Since the kindergarten incident, trauma wasn't all that othered me from school. I was unsettled with the disparity I sensed. The status and wealth of the other students demoralized my grades and attendance. This is where I began to rationalize on a deep level to survive. After almost killing myself at 11, and after public education and counseling did squat, I turned to myself. Besides shutting myself in, I would pass the time learning subjects at a library when I came across humanity's savagery in a book. Until then, I looked up to humanity's past with just awe. The page illustrated the near extinction of cats from Europe because of persecution. Right then, I abandoned all for Catholicism, beside my faith lost in humanity. I realized how many adults were just a self-righteous version of children, and that school doesn't teach maturity. The more sense I made, the more I hated being human. My hate burned so bright, it would never be put out again. Hate gave me a reason to live, no matter the loss, to find the truth. My mom ran out of work as a teacher, so we then moved to Texas. It gave me a chance to again recover, though we treaded homelessness for a bit. Just like that, my grades were normal again, and I stopped skipping school. I began seeking truth online. I started with debunking religion when I came across a free series called Zeitgeist. It didn't just scathe religion, it scathed the greed that was society. I felt euphoric as my burning questions got answered, inspiring 1,000 more. I learned from any critic I could find. When I saw the totality of what capitalism was, I was sick. Everything had a piece of cloud attached to it. Your job, your education, what you owned. If you wonder why relationships feel transactional or inhuman, there it is. All those things were mostly divorced from any deeper cause, and none of it was relevant to true strength. I saw that because I was born low, I'd have to work twice as hard to be relevant as an average person's circumstance. People collecting rents, inheriting fortunes, and exploiting the poor were seen as attractive celebrities. Being validated for that hollow work ethic creates character weakness, and you do not want weak characters at the top, or else the masses will worship weakness. The worst thing was how it was emulated as an attitude by those nowhere near that inheritance. If you strayed from those beliefs, you were asking to be alone and shamed a loser. That was no community at all. I thought to myself, is everyone just stupid? Those enemy nations America criticized, they were paranoid because America invaded them in the first place. Even in 1917, American soldiers were sent to Russia to kill socialism. That was none of our business, and Russia was dealing with much worse than America's founding. We radicalized it by inflicting trauma, just like we'd repeat in the Middle East. I saw nations were like people. Policy in Korea, Iraq, and dozens of other countries are a result of Western violence committed in them. I understood these countries because they were relatable to my treatment. I found their songs more passionate. America, on the other hand, was founded on slaves and the genocide that was manifest destiny. It killed because it could. Those values didn't change. 500,000 kids died in Iraq because of US war. And what did we have at home to show for it? Normalized broken families and cutthroat schools figuring I'd be an upstanding adult. Studying this was an empowered sensation. I was hooked. All of it meshed well with my respect for history, which in turn gave me backbone. The same could be said for my love of planets. So long as I studied on my own time, I had more genuine affinity to knowledge than a student. Still, I needed more. I needed something to be proud of. I always awed at ancient Roman military discipline. Now, at 14, I needed to write my own affirmations. These first writings were self-disciplines I didn't want to forget. They stressed that pain has synergy with reason and awareness if used against a corrupt world. Having that self-awareness and duty motivated me. But still, by 14, I was unbearably lonely. I furiously thanked someone who complimented me online in a debate. I only went to school because I made decent friends to joke with. I had the biggest crush on my science teacher for years. We were good friends, but one day she greeted me in a friendly tone I hadn't experienced before. That was too much for me. I blushed so hard that I burnt out and never spoke to her again. I was tired of the grief knowing she was taken. It definitely left her upset. That's how I came to know and regret how under-socialized I was, though it wasn't my fault. Everyone saw I was the twitchiest crackhead kid, but they saw merit. In fact, they thought I was especially smart and funny. I wasn't hurt by the labels and jokes about me because I felt these kids cared. I was twitchy because I was self-conscious from all the early bad experience. I was terrified of anyone finding out I was poor. I didn't want to lose the kinship I felt with the students. That was the reason I kept to myself and didn't let anyone follow me home. This was my best time, even though I was already a shut-in outside of school. It was well spent studying tyranny and hope, an attempt to get to the bottom of humanity. In these years, I saw counseling for the last time. By this point, they spoke less sense than when I was younger. My last words to them were, "I'd rather be stressed. It opened my eyes to the world." You should have seen her baffled face. My time in Texas came to an end when, again, work ran out. I shuddered the thought of returning to the hell I came from, but indeed we had to move back to Seattle. Things got pretty unbelievable there, just as I imagined. So, I'll leave it to the next video. See you.